love doing these seminars. This, I think, will be my 5th seminar in 7 days in 4 cities. So it's a lot of fun. I love doing it. And this topic especially, a lot of the speeches I do, the talks I do, are to other medical professionals, other physical therapists. But what I really love doing is talking to my clients, my future clients, or just the general public. So this is a lot of fun. I want to get right into a lot of the content today, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about are things that I've just introduced to the trainers, things that we've been gathering from the studio, from what works, and figuring out what hasn't worked, and try to figure out how to make it better. So this will really be the first time I've formally talked about it and try to figure out how to make it help you guys in terms of your health and fitness pursuits. So really excited to talk about it. Just to give you a little background, some of you know, some of you don't know, I spent a lot of time traveling more recently. I've been to 81 cities in 3 years and 4,100 clinicians, so it's been a lot of fun. And talking with other clinicians, it's really amazing about the information they've shared with me, about the perspectives on whether it be if I'm lecturing on low back pain or therapeutic exercise for the older adult. And the more research you look through, the more amazing it is. As you guys know, those who know me know I'm really into my kids, and I love talking about them at any juncture, so this is as good an opportunity as any. That's my Allie girl, who is a complete goofball and a poser. She just dislocated her elbow and is in a cast, which she has gleefully been using as a smasher, crashing up all her snacks at daycare. And, she's a funny, crazy kid, constantly keeping me on my toes.
I wonder where she gets that from.
Yeah, I know. That's my Maddie girl, who is just blossoming into. She's my little baby who's now 5 years old. And then Bella, she's my big girl now. She's 8 and keeps me and the rest of the household in line. And Danielle always gets jealous when I do presentations. I always show off the kids, and she's never in them. And she's like, people are going to think you don't have a wife. So that's Danielle, one of the smartest people I know. She's a brilliant clinician. She's a nurse practitioner, has a practice up in Methuen, and just a great girl. Just a lot of fun, and keeps me, tolerates me when I do my all-night preparation for speeches and such. Hey, what's up, guys? This is my crew here. Many of you know them. Some are new faces. Dave is a nutritionist, worked with me for years in the clinic, and is probably one of the most talented fitness professionals I've ever met. Just a brilliant guy and just a really good person. Much could be said the same for Tom, Dr. Tom now. He's got his doctorate. Just really has a great gift that we're happy to have him in the clinic. Rob met me when he was a year ahead of me in my fellowship program. I brought him along. He became my first employee. It's one of the main reasons why Spectrum evolved from just me treating some clients here and there to an actual business. Courtney, we snagged her as a wellness director from the YMCA, and is really evolving into becoming very familiar with our system, very talented and a lot of fun. And Heidi, if you guys have ever called Spectrum, you know she's the one that keeps things in line. Great girl, and really rounds out our team. We have a background that's very unique. For those who aren't familiar, we're the only studio in the country that has both fellowship-trained, doctorate-trained, board-certified nutritionists, physical therapists, and fitness professionals working together. And I've always believed that that's very necessary because of the importance of fitness in our society and the negative effects of not having professional help in that vein. One of the ways, if someone's asked me why I do what we do and what wraps up what we're doing at Spectrum, I think this case is an excellent example. This gentleman was sent to me from a colleague in the athletic training and physical therapy world. They've all been trying to get his dad healthy. He's about my height, nearly 270 pounds. And he was unable to play golf, and he just hit a limit where, I'm getting to be nearly 7 years old, I can't do the things I love, and I'm feeling miserable. He had a lot of back problems, a lot of hip problems, a lot of leg pain. He's on 5 different medications to manage heart and cholesterol issues and diabetes. We were able to do some amazing things with him, and one of which was to, outside of the realm of physical therapy, find out that a lot of his leg pain was actually related to a medication that he was on. And we called up the doctor and we said, I truly believe that if we take an aggressive approach on helping this man with his nutrition, we will change his life, but you need to be with me on the medication management part. And he said, let's go for it. And to our surprise, Bill was down with it, and it worked out wonderfully. He's now 196 pounds. He plays 3 rounds of 18 holes, 3 days a week. He's off of all his medications. This is a 77-year-old man. So I got a letter from his son, a few months later, and this is one of the things he said. So it really, I think, embodies what we're trying to do and why we think it's so important. Another thing that when you guys are struggling with motivation, when you're trying to struggle with what's the purpose behind changing your diet, changing your attitudes and behaviors, it can seem trivial amongst all the many responsibilities you have. The biggest thing I want you to keep in your mind and let it etch in your mind is this quote. This is from Walter Willett. He's regarded as the world's foremost epidemiologist from Harvard University. And he's done extensive studies on lifestyle management, on disease. And what he's found is that proper diet, exercise, and not smoking will prevent 80% of all coronary artery disease, 90% of diabetes, and 70% of cancers. I mean, think how profound that is. If there was any medication, procedure, intervention, anything that could boast a fraction of those benefits, it'd be a multi-trillion-dollar industry. The fact is, the very things that we're specializing in and we're trying to advocate for are the things that are really making the biggest impact. Of course, we can't control for everything, but we can do a lot. And I want to introduce a concept I've been thinking about and having a hard time articulating, and more importantly, figuring out how we can make it help clients. And just getting ready for this a couple months ago, I was thinking, there is things in our environment, there's things in our social circle that do impact, no matter how good our intentions are, our ability to follow through with exercise and nutrition. And when we bring it to the surface, it actually gets quite simple and very pragmatic as to how we can fix it. I want to ask you guys some questions. Certainly, I don't think there's anyone here, and many people that we all know, that don't want to be healthy, fit, feeling good, looking good. And many of us really want to do that. We've actually tried to plan to do it. Certainly clients that are working with me have. You know what to do or have a pretty good idea, and you've even done it, you've even tried it. But sometimes it doesn't work. Or at least it's a big struggle. Why should it be such a struggle? Usually what I find when I work with clients, the struggle is quite clear after I talk with them for a little bit. I find that they're not matching the program to their individual needs or their lifestyle. The program's fine, but it's not fine for them. Or they got the right program, it's matched for them, they're just not executing it properly. Or they're doing some parts of the plan, but not all parts of the plan. Maintaining consistency, we see that as an issue. Or they're not sure how to modify the plan. Those are things that we see a lot, and we have it under control. We really have it to a point now where we know exactly how to fix those things and what they are. And we have case after case after case after case of every circumstance you can imagine where we see victories with it. However, there's still something missing. There are still scenarios where we can't fix it. There's still scenarios where people are still struggling even though they have the right plan, the right approach. So I was always wondering what is missing. And I've kind of devised a model where I think it encapsulates how we actually need to help improve our health and our fitness. I call it the key factors as part of the WPN model. Very simple: want, plan, do. Do you want to improve your health? Do you want to get in better shape? Do you have a plan to do it? And then do you actually implement it? Do you do it? And there are 3 key factors that really govern that. Is there accountability behind it? Do you have the knowledge or the education about how to do it? Are you aware of it? And is your environment supportive of that? And I realize that I think that what people are missing is this. There's parts of your physical environment that you may not be aware of that are sabotaging your ability to get better results, and parts of your social environment. And the biggest impact is on this, the want factor, the motivation. Can I do it? Does it work? Am I worth it? Do I need to do this? Now, there's a couple things that are really, really important that very few people realize, but the studies are incredibly clear. And a lot of it comes from a researcher named Brian Wozniak out of Cornell University. What they found is that your physical environment actually impacts subconsciously how you eat. For example, they found that people that had food at an arm's length within their desk they ate over 125 calories more per day than if it wasn't at an arm's length. It's crazy stuff that they found. If you, especially for males, this is very true for males, when you're serving dinner or eating a meal, if the food is served and left on the table versus somewhere else, like in the kitchen, off the table, you will consume about 29% more food. Other variables, the presentation of the food matters. They did a great study where they gave subjects a brownie, and they put this brownie on a regular old, styrofoam plate with a plastic knife next to it and nothing else. And the reports people gave on it, this is the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. This thing tastes like baked dirt. And it went on and on and on. And then the same people they invited back later say, now we're going to try this brownie. The brownie was on the fancy china, had little frilly doilies around it, and all nice silverware and stuff. This is the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. This is an orgasm of taste buds. They went on and on and on with these major descriptions. And the reality is the same thing. It was the exact same food, the exact same thing. How we present it makes a difference. Even how you present it in your house. They've shown that if you have fruits and vegetables in a 3-tiered shelf with nice lighting on it, kids in particular, even adults, but kids too, will eat more fruit. When it's just simply tucked away somewhere, the consumption is much, much lower. And they found this to be true in almost any institution, whether it be in a home or in a cafeteria. And how you describe food, steak, it's one thing. But if it's, this, very fancy, description, people will tend to consume it and like it and eat it better. Another thing about eating behaviors, the size of the container you eat out of has a significant impact on how much you will eat. They'll find that even if they gave people popcorn when they did a taste of it and they said this popcorn tastes horrible, when they put it in a larger container, they eat 34% more than if it was in a smaller. Even if they don't like it, usually they'll eat it. Now, I always thought, well, yeah, that's the common person who's not privy to this knowledge and this information. That's not the person who's self-aware. And so the really neat study they did is Brian Wozniak presented this research to his doctoral students at Cornell and had them actually have a test on it. 2 weeks later, he invited them to a Super Bowl party. And he put the classmates in one room and the other in the other room. And they, divvied them up, pretty easily. In the one room, he had larger bowls. The other room, smaller bowls. The group that was in the room with the larger bowls, even though they were aware of this, because they just got tested on it, they're experts on it, still ate more. And what it's going to show us is that sometimes we're going to be beating ourselves up because we're not making results, we're not improving. And we can constantly say this is why it's important, this is what we need to do, but sometimes we need to simply look around us and figure, is our environment set up to help us fail? And if it is, now we can start pinpointing and figuring out, well, this is why I do this, that's why I do that. Of course, there's a lot of willpower and awareness, but a lot of it is being aware of your environment. Another component of this environmental matrix is social support. We've known that social support is required in order to achieve goals. Any type of goal, especially when it comes to health and fitness. Weight Watchers, CrossFit have been great examples as to why they have been effective in getting people to work out. It's a community environment. There's a bunch of social support. This is also a reason why it hasn't worked. Because it's mob group mentality. And it's like, oh no, it should be fine for you, it's great. So social support is very powerful, both on a positive and a negative. And that's one of the reasons why we've seen, specifically in our clients, a small group of folks are just killing it. They're doing wonderfully. Whether it be orchestrated or part of their environment, small group in groups of people have really can be very influential, both on a good and a bad front. I have a new law that I've recently put a coin to with it. If it's in the house, it will be in the mouth. If you have bad food in the house, I don't care how, for a time period, you'll be able to resist it. But you're going against evolution, you're going against human instinct. If it's in the house, it will be consumed. Certain people are a little bit better at this than others. Certain people can triumph over this. But you have to watch out for it. What we tell people to do in this circumstance is think of it like alcohol. There are many people that actually have addictive personalities, whether it be about food or substance. And there is actually proof that shows that some people truly are addicted to foods. You would never show up at their house with a bottle of Jack Daniels if they were an alcoholic. You'd just be shunned as an insensitive, ignorant, goofball. But sometimes that's what happens in these circumstances. So you need to be aware if that's your case. So I have some solutions I want to present. The first solution is identify the obstacles and limitations. If you know what they are, that's half the battle. And after that, you can start pinpointing them and fixing them instead of running around blaming yourself that you're weak-minded and you're lazy or whatever. I mean, of course there are times where that's true, but that's rare actually. More often than not, our environment isn't even acknowledged. Our sphere influence letter. Jackie knows that very, very well. And probably one of the first times we did that. And we've talked with Pat about this too. The Spirit Influence letter is a way that you can cultivate that community, cultivate that responsibility. Essentially, what you do is you articulate, when you're in a mindset of clarity and high motivation, what your goal is, why it's important to you, and how the person you're writing a letter can help. And it does wonders. It's a great thing that you can do, because when you give it to that person, you're giving them permission to say, first of all, this is something that's important to me because I wrote it down. I mean, who writes letters nowadays anyways? Secondly, you're giving them permission to help you. Many people aren't sure if they want to tell you that you're getting a little bit overweight, or you should go to the gym and fear what your reaction is going to be. But if you give them permission to say, listen, don't let me go out and order a huge amount of food and alcohol every time I go out to eat. Help me stay in range. I need you to help me with that. Identify your spirit. That could be your spouse, could be your significant other, could be a coworker, could be your neighbor. It really works if you put that through, and it's a good option. The kids. If you have kids in your life, grandkids or your own kids, they can be wonderful soldiers to this. If you give a kid the responsibility to say, listen, Daddy's trying to get in better shape. What I need you to do is I need you to help me eat more fruits and vegetables. Don't let me have some snacks. And all those snacks you keep around the house, I love those too. And when you see that they're all gone, it's because Daddy ate them. Help me out. And they like that role. That gives them some power. And that's all they want to do is pleasers. They want to help Mom and Dad out. A lot of people think that they're a disadvantage to it. And they can be at first, but a lot of times we see some great successes with that. Expert meeting. Just the process of meeting and talking with an expert like Dina, who's a psychotherapist. We'll talk a little bit more about her in just a minute. Somebody who's obviously an expert in the fitness world. That formality really is a great way to bring these things to the surface and figure out some solutions. Education, the more you learn about this, the more you're aware of it, the better. And the more your people in your sphere of influence know about it, the better. They don't think of you as being, oh, she's on this crazy diet, or she's doing this crazy program, or he doesn't know what he's talking about. Once you bring them into this notion about what a healthy environment is for nutrition, for fitness, it's a little bit easier to get some support. And track this, but you can track it not necessarily based on results. I lost 8 pounds of body fat in the last 2 months. You can track it by process. I don't go out to eat for lunch anymore. I make my lunch. And put how many X's on the calendar that you did that. Because if you do that, then more likely you're going to achieve the goal. So make it more of a process-based goal, and that's one example. Pick your fights. There are going to be certain environments where you're going to be able to control and win. In other environments, it's just not going to work. Your girls' weekend, they plan to go to Vegas. It's going to be a tough environment. Allow yourself to lose some okay? In my house, 5 minutes. In my house, my mother-in-law, love her to death, great person. Her concept of nutrition is sugar. It's like Elf, Will Ferrell from Elf. Food groups have to do with like syrup and boy, my kids, it's like they salivate when they see her because they know sugar's coming. I bring them to other houses, and I'm not going to be that guy that comes in and says, no, my kids don't have juice, they don't have this, they don't have that. When they go outside in their environment, they're told they can have some of those things. But when they're in our environment, that's when that's where we have some control, that's where we can win. Pick your battles, and you'll be able to find a lot of good control instead of constant reminders that you don't have control. And try to limit exposure to media. Although my wife gets free magazines from the office, W Magazine, I don't even know them, Bizarre, whatever, Glamour. She's a fashion aficionado. I got 3 girls at home too. That's an early socialization about, what you should look like, and they're all airbrushed, and we all know that stuff, but when you're a little bitty, you don't know that. And you might not realize how the media is influencing your perspective. I work with a gentleman, just saw him today, my height, about 215 pounds, jacked guy, a little bit more pudgy. And I keep telling him, listen man, you're getting to be 40 years old, we need to lose some weight. Yeah, but I don't want to get small. You don't understand, you're at like the upper 1.4% of the human race in musculature, but he's seen magazines that show these big bulky guys. They're all on steroids. His perspective is so off, and it's been leading him well up into he's an established attorney that has accomplished a lot. Still, it bothers him. So your media, just limit some of that, and that can make a big impact. The problem about acknowledging this, though, is don't assume that you know this now and you're enlightened about this. It's hard work. It's not easy. Now that we know it, great. But now you got to isolate. You got to go after it, and don't expect it to be an easy process. But it's a lot easier than beating yourself up, not knowing why you're being sabotaged, not knowing why things aren't working, and it can make a big difference. I want you guys to write these things down if you can, if you got a little thing to write with or put it in your phone. Figure out what you want. What do you really want? You want to feel better, you want to look better, you want to be able to climb stairs without getting out of shape. Do you want to go somewhere with your kids that you can't go because of your knee issues? Do you want to feel comfortable at the beach this summer? Whatever it is, highbrow or just simply vanity things, what do you want? And write it down. And then talk about also what. And then spend the process of figuring out what's in your way. When I meet with clients, it's one of the first things I do, and it's the first time they've had this discussion. What's in your way? What are the things getting in your way of your goals? Who's going to help? Okay, you can assume that you can do it on your own, and I'm all about empowerment. That's what we want. But the reality is that in some way or the other, you're going to need help, and we have the proof that social support is very important for this. How are you going to track it? How are you going to know that you're actually making an impact on changing the environment in your house or making sure you're having a social support sphere of influence? And what's your plan? So how are you going to get at these things? It's so liberating when you go through this process. It's not a highly involved process. Yeah, you have to ask some tough questions, but the answers are definitely worth it. And in the amount of control and satisfaction we see our clients get it from this, it's pretty remarkable.
What was the last one? What's your plan?
What's your plan to address the above?
Okay.
What's your plan? Dina, what I have right now, I got the hot seat. Is that? All right, cool. So this is a little twist on seminars. Never done this before, but I figured it'd be kind of fun to do. Want to spend 5 minutes. What do we got? 7 minutes?
You have 7.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, keep me on track.
All right.
7 minutes, and if you don't mind, Pat, do you mind grabbing that bowl back there, the snowman thing? I'm going to pick one person, and you're going to come up with me, and we're going to go through a little what we call a hot seat thing. Tell me about your fitness issues. Tell me about your fitness goals, and we'll figure out how to get there. This will be okay if you're a current client. If you want to pass as a current client so somebody else gets a chance, it's fine. Diane.
Oh,
Come
no.
on up.
I was just saying,
Get up there.
I was just saying, please don't pick me. Please don't pick me.
Oh, Diane who?
Oh, Aganis. Sorry. Yes.
Ooh. I didn't know I was coming here too.
No, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right. Come on up.
Wait a minute.
Come on up in front of us. So, putting you on the spot, but it's perfectly fine with it. You were here at last seminar, I think, as well, right?
I was, yes.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
great,
that's it.
yeah.
So tell me about what are your fitness goals?
Ooh, I would, like to be toned and lose some weight. I find I'm 55, so I feel like I gain it. My metabolism has slowed down.
Yeah.
I try to eat healthy and exercise. I don't know.
All right, cool.
So-
What things have you tried in the past to get at that goal?
Yeah, good question. Oh, geez.
You can't.
Boot camp,
camp?
yes, I did do that for a while, and it
Running.
was pretty good. It was really early in the morning, it was in my town.
Yep,
And it was a nice group of people.
good social support.
Yeah, I did
scenario.
that probably like for 6 months or something. It was good. And then it kind of, they stopped doing it, so then I stopped going, got out of the routine.
Yep,
Running, Jim.
And I used to be a big runner. I love to do that, but
Why did you
kind of
stop?
got out of that. Why?
yeah,
What's
I
that?
actually did, I tore my meniscus. And I actually remember at the doctor's crying because he said, you've got to stop running.
Yeah.
Stop doing everything first. And then I got kind of out of it.
all right.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing recently in the last 4 weeks? to
Yeah, I
get that
joined,
goal?
I go to a gym, Latitudes, up in Salisbury.
Yeah, I used to belong there.
Oh,
Yeah, I used to live up that way.
okay.
Know it very, very well.
So I had like a free one-on-one with a trainer the other day, actually, and she recommended that I she gave me like a weight training program
Uh-huh.
to do, and she recommended I do there's a tall machine, like a stair climber.
Yep, yep.
And-
It's like a stair mill, kind of just
Yeah,
goes
I
over.
never did that before, and she said to do that for 30 minutes.
Have you been doing it
I
since?
just did last night. 'Cause
Great.
It's only a couple of days since but I tell you, it's a great, I don't know if I really.
I've seen that.
And I-
What are your main, what do you think are the biggest obstacles to limitations to you getting at your goal? And your overall goal, it seems, is
Probably,
to...
I want to lose like 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
and
what,
be
do you,
more
what stands in
toned.
your way, you think?
Whew, the time, I work a lot, like the whole month of December, I'm really busy at work.
Mm-hmm.
So I just would, after work, big thing is if I don't do it like first thing in the morning,
It's
by
not
the
gonna
end of the
happen.
day, forget it, I'm exhausted.